In the beautiful American city of Chicago, there was a famous museum that attracted millions of visitors every year. The museum was well known throughout the country for its gigantic dinosaur displays, rare fossils, and exciting science exhibits. Children who visited the museum often felt as if they had traveled back in time to a world that existed millions of years ago. It was summer vacation, and tourists filled the city from every direction. At the same time, a 12-year-old boy named Ethan Parker had come to Chicago with his parents and his younger sister Lily. Ever since he was little, Ethan had been fascinated by dinosaurs. His bedroom walls were covered with dinosaur posters. His bookshelf was packed with dinosaur books, and he owned countless dinosaur toys of every shape and size. When his father told him they were going to visit Chicago's famous museum, Ethan nearly jumped with excitement. He had been looking forward to this moment. The next morning, the family arrived at the museum. As soon as they walked through the main entrance, Ethan's eyes widened in amazement. The enormous hall was filled with incredible exhibits related to history and science. There were ancient animal skeletons, displays about space exploration, and fossils that were millions of years old. But Ethan was focused on only one thing: the dinosaur gallery. He hurried toward it as fast as he could. The moment he stepped inside the massive gallery, he froze in awe. Standing before him was a gigantic Tyrannosaurus Rex display. It was so tall that its neck seemed to reach almost to the second floor. Its enormous skull, sharp teeth, and powerful tail made it look as if it could come to life at any moment. Tourists all around were taking pictures. Some children hid behind their parents in fear, while others stared at the giant dinosaur with excitement. Slowly, Ethan walked closer. He looked up. The T-Rex's glassy eyes seemed to be staring directly at him. "Wow!" Ethan said excitedly. "I wish I could see a real dinosaur someday." He took several photos with his phone and carefully walked around the display, examining every detail. Just then, he heard a voice behind him. "You really like dinosaurs, don't you?" Ethan turned around. Standing there was a woman in her 40s wearing a white lab coat and an identification badge around her neck. "Yes, I do," Ethan replied immediately. "I love learning about dinosaurs." The woman smiled. "My name is Dr. Emily Carter. I'm a scientist here at the museum." Ethan's eyes lit up. "Really? Do you study dinosaurs?" "Yes," Dr. Emily replied. "And not just dinosaurs. I also work on advanced technologies." Ethan became curious. "What kind of technology?" Dr. Emily gave a mysterious smile, the kind that could make the museum experience more exciting than ever before. "How?" Ethan asked. Dr. Emily remained silent for a moment. Then she looked at the T-Rex and said, "Sometimes science can do things that nobody could ever imagine." Ethan thought her words sounded a little strange, but he didn't pay much attention and continued exploring the museum. He spent the rest of the day looking at dinosaur fossils, visiting the space gallery, and enjoying many fascinating science exhibits. Yet Dr. Emily's words kept echoing in his mind. As evening approached, the museum began to close. Visitors slowly made their way toward the exits. Ethan returned to his hotel with his family, but he had no idea that that very night a mystery would be born inside the museum, one that would soon become history. That night, unusual activity filled the museum. Dr. Emily Carter and her team of scientists were preparing for the final test of a brand new project. After months of hard work, they had developed a special energy system designed to make the museum's displays feel more realistic than ever before. Their goal was to create an experience that would make children feel as though they had truly stepped into the prehistoric world. Large computer screens glowed throughout the control room. Scientists carefully monitored equipment while security personnel watched every area of the building. Dr. Emily looked at her team. "Is everything ready?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," one scientist replied. "All systems are operating normally." At exactly midnight, the test began. A massive energy generator powered on. The low hum of machinery echoed through the room as sensors across the museum started to glow. At first, everything worked perfectly, but then the weather outside suddenly changed. Dark clouds rolled across the sky. Powerful winds began to howl. Within minutes, a violent storm had formed over the city. Rain pounded against the museum windows. Then, crack! A massive bolt of lightning flashed across the sky. Its bright light illuminated the entire museum. At that exact moment, something went wrong with the energy system. Computer screens instantly filled with red warning messages. Dr. Carter, the system is overloading, a scientist shouted. Start the emergency shutdown, Dr. Emily ordered. But it was already too late. A second lightning bolt struck the museum's energy receiver directly. The entire building was engulfed in a brilliant blue glow. For a few seconds, it felt as though time itself had stopped. Then, suddenly, everything went silent. The machines shut down. Darkness filled the room. A few moments later, the backup power system activated. The scientists breathed a sigh of relief. They assumed it had been nothing more than a technical malfunction. What none of them knew was that something unbelievable had happened inside the dinosaur hall. A faint golden glow appeared in the eyes of the giant T-Rex display. At first, one of its fingers moved. Then its massive head slowly turned to the right. The floor trembled beneath its enormous feet. The model that had stood motionless for years was now breathing. Slowly, it opened its eyes. For the very first time, it looked at the world around it. Its giant chest rose and fell. Then it took a step forward. Thud! The sound echoed through the entire hall. Another step, then another. It was walking. The giant T-Rex display had come to life. For a while, it quietly wandered through the museum, but it did not behave like a wild predator. Instead, it acted like a curious child discovering the world for the first time. It examined fossils. It studied photographs hanging on the walls. Sometimes it stopped and stared at its own reflection in the glass, amazed by what it saw. It did not understand who it was or where it was. Throughout the night, it explored the museum in silence. Just before sunrise, it returned to its original position and stood perfectly still once again. To anyone looking at it, nothing seemed different. But one thing had changed. It was alive, and it could see, it could hear, and it was trying to understand the world around it. The next morning, the museum opened as usual. Visitors poured through the doors. Children's laughter echoed throughout the halls. No one realized that the T-Rex standing before them was no longer just a display. It was watching them, listening to them, learning about the world. That same morning, Ethan returned to the museum. As always, he rushed straight to the dinosaur gallery. But the moment he saw the T-Rex, he stopped. Something felt different. Very different. Its eyes seemed brighter than they had the day before. Then he noticed something even stranger. The position of its tail had changed. Yesterday, it had pointed slightly to the left. Today, it was angled to the right. Ethan frowned. "That's weird," he whispered. He stepped closer. And then, he had the strange feeling that the T-Rex was looking directly at him. Ethan's heart began to race. He had no idea that the greatest adventure of his life was about to begin. As Ethan stepped closer to the T-Rex exhibit, he noticed something strange. The giant dinosaur seemed to be standing in a slightly different position than before. "I'm sure it wasn't standing like that yesterday," he thought. Suddenly, the T-Rex blinked. Ethan gasped and quickly stepped back. His heart pounded in his chest. Are you really alive?" he whispered. To his complete shock, the T-Rex slowly nodded. But there was nothing frightening about it. Its eyes were filled with kindness. "My name is Rex," the dinosaur said in a deep, gentle voice. Ethan's jaw dropped. "You can talk?" "A little," Rex replied. Within minutes, the two became friends. Rex explained that the lightning strike and the experimental energy system had somehow brought him to life. "But I can't stay this way forever," Rex said. "Why not?" Ethan asked. "Because the energy that created me is unstable. If it isn't fixed soon, it could damage the entire museum." Just then, the lights throughout the museum began to flicker. Dr. Emily came running into the hall. When she checked the system readings, her face filled with concern. The energy system is becoming dangerously unstable, she said. If we don't shut it down within a few hours, the museum's entire electrical network could fail. Now Ethan, Dr. Emily, and Rex had to work together to solve the problem. The energy control room was located in the oldest section of the museum. To reach it, they would have to pass through a maze of corridors, storage rooms, and restricted areas. Without wasting any time, the three set off. Along the way, they faced several challenges. At one point, a massive steel door blocked their path. Using his incredible strength, Rex slowly pushed it open. Farther ahead, part of an old walkway had collapsed. Ethan carefully used nearby equipment to create a safe path across. Meanwhile, Dr. Emily worked to keep the system active and monitor the growing energy surge. Time was running out. Finally, they reached the control room. Inside, the main energy crystal was glowing brighter than ever. The room pulsed with waves of powerful energy. Dr. Emily studied the readings. "We have to shut it down immediately," she said. "But there's a problem. What is it?" Ethan asked. "The manual shutdown switch is located right next to the crystal." Everyone looked toward it. Dangerous energy sparks crackled around the platform. Getting close to it would be extremely risky. Before anyone could speak, Rex stepped forward. "I'll do it," he said. Ethan looked at him in disbelief. "But you'll be in danger." Rex smiled. "That's what friends do. They help each other when it matters most." Slowly, Rex walked toward the glowing crystal. Brilliant energy surrounded him from every direction. Ethan and Dr. Emily watched anxiously. Step by step, Rex moved closer. The energy grew stronger. The entire room shook. Then, with all his strength, Rex reached out and slammed his hand onto the shutdown switch. Click! Instantly, the crystal's glow began to fade. The powerful waves of energy disappeared. The alarm stopped. The room became silent. The museum was safe. They had done it. But then Ethan noticed something. Rex's golden glow was fading too. His movements became slower. Ethan's smile disappeared. He understood what was happening. The energy that had brought Rex to life was gone. His friend was turning back into a museum display. "Will I ever see you again?" Ethan asked sadly. Rex smiled warmly. "As long as children continue to learn about dinosaurs, my story will never truly disappear." A few seconds later, Rex became completely still. Once again, he looked like an ordinary T-Rex model. The adventure was over. A few days later, the museum opened a brand new exhibit. Its title was Rex, a story of courage, friendship, and science. Thousands of children came to see it. They listened to the incredible story of the dinosaur who had come to life and helped save the museum. Whenever Ethan visited, he would stop in front of Rex and smile. And one day, as he looked into the T-Rex's eyes, he noticed something, a tiny golden sparkle. Just for a moment. Ethan smiled. Maybe his friend wasn't completely gone after all. And perhaps science still held many mysteries waiting to be discovered. From that day forward, the story of the Chicago Museum became famous across America. Children didn't visit just to see dinosaurs. They came to learn an important lesson. When knowledge, friendship, and courage come together, even the greatest challenges can be overcome. Moral of the story: knowledge makes us powerful, but true friendship and courage